The Sutra of Impermanence continuation. When the world-honored one had spoken the sutra, the bhiksus, devas, dragons, yakshas, gandharas, asuras, and so forth were all filled with immense joy. They accepted and followed the teaching faithfully, always pursuing worldly desires and not performing good deeds. How can you maintain your body and life and not see the approach of death? When the breath of life is ending, limbs and joints separate, the agonies of death converge, and you can only lament. Eyes roll up, the blade of death strikes down with the force of karma. The mind fills with fear and confusion, and no one can save you. Gasping the chest, heaves rapidly, shortened breaths parch the throat. The king of death demands your life, and the relatives can only stand by. All consciousness becomes hazy and dim as you enter the city of peril. Friends and relatives forsake you as the rope drags you away to the place of King Yama, where fate is determined by karma. Virtuous deeds give rise to good destinies, and bad karma plunges one into hell. There is no vision clearer than wisdom, and nothing darker than ignorance. There is no sickness worse than hatred, and no fear greater than death. All that live must die. Commit sins and the body suffers. Be diligent in examining the three karmas. Always cultivate merits and wisdom. All your relatives will desert you. All possessions will be gone. You have only your virtues as sustenance on this treacherous path. Like those who rest by a roadside tree, they will not linger long. Wife, children, carriages, and horses will likewise soon be gone, like birds that gather at night, going their separate ways at dawn. Death callously, Death callously parts all relatives and friends, and Buddha enlightenment is our true refuge. I have spoken in brief according to the sutras. The wise should reflect and take heed. Devas, asuras, yakshas, and so forth who come, hear the Buddha's teaching with utmost sincerity. Uphold the Dharma so it may endure. Each of you should practice with diligence. All sentient beings will come for the teaching, whether on land or in the air. Always be kind-hearted in this world. Abide in the Dharma day and night. May all worlds be safe and peaceful. May infinite blessings and wisdom benefit all beings. May all sinful karma and suffering, be removed. May all enter perfect stillness. Anoint the body with the fragrance of precepts and sustain it with the strength of samadhi. Adorn the world with flowers of body wisdom. Dwell in peace, joy, whether you are and wherever you are. The Sutra of Impermanence. I prostrate and take refuge in the unsurpassed one, who with endless vows of great compassion ferries sentient beings across the stream of birth and death to reach the safe heaven of nirvana. With great charity, morality, and tolerance and diligence, one might experience right wisdom and power, having reached perfection in benefiting self and others. He is called the tamer, the teacher of heavenly and human beings. And now there are some words that need to be explained in here, but I will skip it and continue first reading. I prostrate and take refuge in the wondrous Dharma treasury by the teaching of the 3/4 and 2/5, being perfect and clear, and the 7 and 8 opening the gate to the 4th truth. Cultivators reach the shore of the unconditioned. The Dharma clouds and Dharma rain imbue all beings, eliminating searing afflictions and illness, tempering and converting the obstinate, guiding everyone appropriately, not by force. I prostrate and take refuge in the saints, the superior beings of the 8 stages, who can be freed from defilements. With the Vajra scepter of wisdom, they shatter the mountain of delusion, forever severing the beginningless ties and fetters. In the epoch from Deer Park to the Twin Trees, they follow the Buddha in propagating the true teaching. According to individual vows and karma, they complete their missions, realize non-birth, and abide in stillness, with body and knowledge extinguished. I prostrate and venerate the three jewelers, the true source of liberation for all, leading those droving in samsara from foolish delusion to enlightenment. All who are born with it will die. All beauty will fade. Strong are stricken by illness, and no one can escape. Even the great Mr. Sumeru will erode by the Kalpa's end. The vast and fathomless seas, will eventually dry up. Will all perish in due time. Not one thing in the world can escape impermanence. From being in the neither thought or non-thought heaven, down to the wheel-turning king's digression. Remember, this is not death, okay? This is just like Jesus also mentioned, being in body alive, realizing that doing harm to sentient beings and not distributing well non-sentient goods leads to death. That is not communism. It means whoever is hungry has to eat, for instance, and that good, compassionate monastery does. Not by kidnapping and forcing meat, but by actually providing whatever it is that is the best to self and others. And asking, do not on my account do harm and call yourself for that offering death honorable or giving me to death. Because that is wrong. That is what that sutra is about. It is like a description of hell, and it is as such presented in ceremony that really is not boring. Let's continue. Down the wheel-turning kings, accompanied by the 7 treasures, and surrounded by 1,000 suns, where their lives have ended, without a moment's delay, they drift again in the sea of death and suffer according to their karma. Karma also, if one kills animals, it means causing to self-hatred of those each time they are harmed again, I cannot stand it, and shortening life and dying. And that is sutra to say, describe hell and close the gates in ceremony. Because it's enough, because as honorable you've been hurt enough, and you have to stand up above the hell and say, enough, let's close the gates. As if the world was a jail, basically, and persons were deluded, which is what that teaching describes. Transmigrating with the triple realm is like the tuning of well-bucket's wheel, or like a silkworm spinning a cocoon to confine itself. Even the unsurpassed Buddhas, Pratyeka Buddhas and Shravakas, give up their impermanent bodies. Why not ordinary beings, parents, spouses and children, siblings and other relatives, witnessing the separation of life and death? Don't they all lament and grieve? Therefore everyone is urged to heed the true Dharma, renounce what is impermanent, and practice the deathless path. Like sweet dew that cools and purifies, the Dharma eradicates all afflictions, so listen with one mind. Thus I have heard, once the Bhagavan was old, the Jetava grove in Anathapindika Park in Shrivasti. At that time, I guess it's a place in India, I don't remember, there is a note, a footnote. At the time the Buddha told the bhikkhus, in this world there are 3 things that are not likable, not lustrous, not desired, and not agreeable. What are the 3? Aging, illness, and death, bhikkhus. Bhikkhus and bhikkhini, those are monks and nuns. Aging, illness, and death of all things in this world are truly not likable, not lustrous, not desired, and not agreeable. Okay, let's remember that. Offering also to others, being dead, is not wanted by anyone. Okay? If there were no... Or killing others, offering to kill others, that is also not wanted. However, if others beg to die, we do not also if that is illegal to not do, having medical license, especially having a gun, or being inscribed into organization that promotes killing, like some, for instance, in the United States, even the oath asks to kill. We can say, no thank you, I am not gonna kill. I'm not gonna kill for anyone because it kills me and you as well. And so that is ignorance. To ask for it. Let's continue. Bhiksus, aging, illness, and death of all things in this world are truly not likable, not lustrous, not desired, and not agreeable. If there are no aging, illness, and death in the world, Tathagata, the worthy, completely enlightened one, needs to appear in this world to speak to all sentient beings on how to cultivate and what can be attained. That also involves literal, down-to-earth, that many monasteries do, like in China, for instance, not only cars, cultivation, meaning fields with fruits and vegetables and work. Also in cities, not only standing and asking for stuff from the government. I work, for instance, for every single thing. Even for those lame $18,000 scholarship, I worked. Full time, even when on a free time. Despite being paid for half of it. Therefore, you should know the aging, illness, that is a digression also. Aging, illness, and death, and all things in this world are not likable, not lustrous, not desired, and not agreeable. Because of these three things, Tathagata, the worthy and completely enlightened one, appears in this world to speak to all sentient beings on how to cultivate and what can be attained. Then the world-honored one reiterated this teaching in the following Gata. All external splendor will perish. Likewise, the body will decay. Only the incomparable Dharma will endure. Why? Let me explain here. The Dharma says, middle way reality means practice moderation. Take as much as you need. When you start getting sick from eating, for instance, do not have more, just stop and don't get sick having too much. That is the Dharma of moderation or middle way. And there is no also confusion. It's wrong killing in Christianity, it's wrong to kill in Buddhism, it's bad to kill all sentient beings in Buddhism and in Christianity. That's what Jesus said. And that's what Buddha says as well. Why? Because it kills us, and offering to die is called being dishonorable, and asking for sex or offering is treating self and others as if one was, I don't know, a trimmed, a extendable pumpkin or, some sort of a vegetable. We are not the same species. Only the incomparable Dharma will endure. The wise should discern clearly aging, illness, and death are resented by all. Their appearance is dreadful and repulsive. The countenance of youth is fleeting. Soon it will wither and fade. Not that these are bad. This is bad to have something cut and then offer self for food. Or offer others. Or harm accusing others. This is to say, don't do it. That's all. Understand what I'm saying and don't do it. Don't make money placing persons in lockups because you make them the same as slaves. And none of the persons is inherently stupid, which is also what Buddha said, and that's why he bothered teaching at all. There is no one born smart. Not even Dalai Lama. Even living to 100 years still. But there are limits, that's what the sutra says. There are limits, if not, tell everyone that nothing is permanent, whatever you're killing, just keep on doing, we're closing the gates, and we are living. That's what it says. One must give to the force of impermanence. The suffering of aging, illness, and death constantly afflicts all sentient beings. Okay,